There are certain tropes which moviegoers expect to see while watching a horror. Buckets of blood, jump scares around every corner, a seemingly dead villain springing back to life. But there's another cliche that's all too common in the genre. Everyone acts like an idiot. Because these stereotypes are frustrating, it's nice to see someone in a found footage feature with some common sense. So with that in mind, I'm Ellie with What Culture here with the 11 smartest decisions in found footage horror movies. Number 11. Sergio handcuffs Marie to the banister in Wreck. In Wreck, a reporter, Angela, and her cameraman Pablo are documenting night shift firefighters in Barcelona. After receiving a distress call from an apartment building, Angela and her party head there, where they encounter a savage woman. After she attacks the emergency workers, Angela learns the tenant has been infected with a rabies-like disease. Realizing others could be infected in classic zombie fashion, Officer Sergio safeguards Angela from potential harm. When a little girl called Jennifer becomes infected, she vomits blood on her mother, Marie, before running up the stairs. Knowing Jennifer can infect others, it's Sergio's top priority to chase after her. But before he does, he handcuffs Marie to the staircase since Jennifer has exposed her to the same virus. Because Jennifer's transformation occurs in the blink of an eye, Sergio may not have noticed the threat Marie posed. Luckily, the officer recognized the danger and had her incapacitated immediately. Not only was this a smart move, but it totally pays off in a more twisted and unintended way. When a bunch of zombified citizens burst into the building later, they try to attack Sergio and Angela. Because Marie is cuffed, the horde see her as an easy target and go for her instead, giving the others enough time to flee upstairs. Number 10. Martine recognizes the threat immediately in Paranormal Activity 2. Paranormal Activity 2 opens with Daniel Ray's home being trashed by an unseen demon. Unsurprisingly, Daniel's daughters, Christy and Katie, are left terrified. Daniel dismisses their concerns, believing there's a rational explanation why the doors close by themselves and why everything in the kitchen levitates. It's probably just the wind. Fortunately, Martine, the housekeeper, immediately recognizes the danger the Rays are in. Hoping to expel the evil spirit, Martine burns sage throughout the house. Because Daniel has no belief in the supernatural, he berates Martine for her actions before firing her. When Daniel later realizes the demon is real, he rehires Martine, hoping she can protect them. Sadly, it's too little too late. After the malevolent force possesses Katie, it uses her body to kill Daniel and Christy. She then takes her infant half-brother, Ali, before disappearing into the night. The only person in the Ray house who didn't suffer a horrific fate was Martine, the one person who did everything in her power to warn the family. If Daniel listened to Martine from the beginning, all of them would have been spared. Number 9. The charcoal trick in The Taking of Deborah Logan. This supernatural flick begins with filmmaker Mia prepping a documentary about Deborah, a relative of hers suffering from Alzheimer's. So, when our titular character acts aggressively, Mia initially assumes it's due to her debilitating disease. But after Deborah starts moving and speaking in an inhuman manner, the film crew suspects she's possessed. At one point, they notice Deborah repeatedly plugs into line 337 on the switchboard in the home. Checking the records, it appears the crew are at a dead end when realizing the line 337 page has been torn out of the logbook. Or so it seems. One of Mia's crew, Luis, smudges charcoal on the previous page, allowing the team to make out the lettering on the torn out sheet. After reading it, the group track line 337 to a deceased man called Henri Desjardins, and after a bit of detective work, they discover Henri is the one who possessed Deborah. If Luis didn't pull off this little trick, Mia's investigation would have come to an abrupt stop. But thanks to this Scooby-Doo shit, as Luis gracefully puts it, they cracked the case. Number 8. A zombie takes his own life in VHS 2. Like its predecessor, VHS 2 is a horror anthology consisting of several found footage shorts. The second chapter centers around a biker called Mike who's bitten by a passing zombie. Upon reanimation, Mike goes on a rampage, leading him to a birthday party. As can be expected from a zombie story, most of the characters in the scene showcase no preservation skills, even while being hounded by a deranged flesh-eater. Ironically, the only person who's using his brain is Mike. Despite being an undead monster, Mike repeatedly demonstrates his old identity is still there, buried deep inside. When he sees his reflection, he has a moment of recognition. After discovering a teddy bear, he momentarily ceases his killing spree. And when he butt dials his girlfriend and hears her voice, it awakens a enough of Mike's personality to let him retake control of his body. Knowing it's only a matter of time before his lust for human flesh overpowers him, Mike picks up a shotgun and blows his head off. He may have been mentally impaired, but this was one zombie with enough brains to make the right choice. Number 7. The witch urges her victims to look at her in Blair Witch. Blair Witch kicks off with James Donahue heading into the Burkittsville woods. While there, he hopes to find answers about his sister Heather, who went missing years ago while recording a project about the Blair Witch. In the climax, James and his friends are lured to Rustin Parr's home, the same place where Heather met her demise. Over time, the witch kills all of James's friends, save for himself and Lisa. Rather than fighting her head-on, James orders Lisa to face the wall, knowing the witch only slaughters her prey while looking at them. In theory, it's a smart idea. Unfortunately, the witch's plan is smarter. Recognizing James's clever scheme, the witch tricks him by mimicking his sister's voice. James instinctively turns around, allowing the sorceress to kill him. Lisa proves to be a bit smarter, using the camcorder to peer behind her without risking eye contact with her pursuer. But when the witch imitates James's voice, Lisa can't help looking, allowing the demonic woman to deliver the killing blow. Up until this point, it's easy to believe the Blair Witch is a brutish monster, devoid of intellect. However, this sneaky tactic proved she was more cunning than her victims ever imagined. Number 6. Aaron drugs Joseph in Creep. In Creep, a videographer named Aaron is hired to record a stranger named Joseph who claims to be terminally ill. Throughout the day, Aaron notices odd behavior from Joseph, including jokes he makes about killing him. Yeah, I'd say that's a big red flag. When Joseph claims he raped his wife, Aaron realizes he needs to leave the cabin ASAP. Although Joseph encourages him to stay, Aaron is dead set on leaving. Refusing to take no for an answer, Joseph says Aaron can go after they share a drink. When Aaron can't find his car keys, Joseph encourages him to spend the night. Not taking any chances, Aaron spikes Joseph's drink, knocking him out. Although he eventually comes to, Joseph is too lethargic to overpower Aaron, allowing him to escape. Even though Joseph is obviously dangerous from the get-go, it's easy to see how he coaxed Aaron into this situation. By playing the victim and using subtle psychological tactics, Joseph is able to lure Aaron into a false sense of security. Fortunately, Aaron sees right through Joseph's ploy, allowing him to get the upper hand of his tormentor, though sadly not for long enough. Number 5. Insurance policy in Unfriended Dark Web. In Unfriended Dark Web, Matthias steals a laptop from a cyber cafe and claims it as his own. Matthias notices the Facebook is still connected to the account of the previous owner, Charon 4. After receiving disturbing messages from Charon's employers, Matthias checks the hard drive's content where he discovers the owner is a, get this, dark web assassin. Worse still, the killer can see everything Matthias does through his camera and threatens to murder his friends and girlfriend if he doesn't return the laptop. Because Charon has been compromised, Matthias is certain the hitman will slaughter everyone no matter what. That's when Matthias turns the tables. Since he's connected to Charon's account, Matthias is able to transfer $10,000 from his account into his own. If Charon doesn't keep his word, he'll lose the money. And because this exchange is against protocol in Charon's line of work, his employers immediately know something is wrong. Recognizing his career and life has been jeopardized, Charon is left with no choice but to accept Matthias's terms. It's fantastic to watch this scenario play out since Charon, who appeared to be holding all the cards, finds himself at Matthias's mercy within seconds. Number 4. Avalon throws the Exorcist off the scent in The Last Exorcism. The Last Exorcism follows an atheist priest, Marcus, who performs fraudulent exorcisms on people who claim to be possessed. By order of Pastor Manley, Marcus is asked to exorcise a girl called Nell. When she shows signs of pregnancy, Nell insists she was impregnated by a demon since she's a virgin. Although Marcus dismisses her claims at first, he doubts himself after seeing Nell perform supernatural acts. But when Nell's demon, Avalon, speaks to Marcus, he notices something unusual about his phrasing. After Avalon asks if Marcus wants a blowing job, the priest points out a depraved demon would know the correct name for every sexual act, proving Nell isn't possessed and is just an innocent young girl. Ashamed, Nell confesses she got pregnant by having normal human sex with a man called Logan. Marcus then tracks down Logan to validate Nell's story. Upon speaking to Logan, Marcus learns the pair never slept together. Through further deduction, Marcus discovers Avalon is real and deliberately misspoke to delegitimize Nell's claims. By the time Marcus realizes his blunder, it's too late. As he returns to Nell's home, she gives birth to Avalon's offspring before he can reach her. Well played, Avalon. Well played. Number 3. The psychic leaves in Paranormal Activity. While watching haunted house movies, it's hard not to ask the age-old question that's baffled filmgoers for years. Why don't they just leave? If a building contains a poltergeist that tosses furniture around and sucks children into televisions, there's no logical explanation why the homeowners would remain there. This plot hole is often addressed while discussing paranormal activities, since Mika and Katie stay in their haunted home long after the entity attacks them. To be fair, it's established the spirit will follow the couple if they leave, since it's tethered to them, but it doesn't change the fact that Mika takes no precautions against the vengeful being and constantly antagonizes it. Which is why it's reassuring to see psychic Dr. Fredericks react to the ghost in a sensible manner. When he arrives in the house, he gives Mika and Katie some advice to help them. When he returns days later, Fredericks recognizes the paranormal power certainly doesn't like that I'm here. Realizing his presence is aggravating the ghost, Fredericks skedaddles. Running away may seem cowardly, but Fredericks' actions kept him alive. If Katie and Mika packed up and left immediately after they noticed spooky phenomena in their home, they wouldn't have suffered their grisly fate either. Number 2. Using himself as a sacrifice in Deadstream. Deadstream revolves around a YouTuber, Sean, trying to get his career back on track. Thinking he has a hit on his hands, he heads inside a haunted house and streams his experience there for the night. After being attacked by the demonic ghost of Mildred Pratt and her ghouls though, he realizes he's bitten off more than he can chew. Despite being depicted as a naive, if hilarious buffoon, Sean is surprisingly resourceful. Rather than investigating every creepy noise, he looks at the camera footage of each room through his iPad. Every time he's attacked, he neutralizes the threat efficiently and succinctly. When he doesn't know what to do, he asks viewers for help. Acknowledging Mildred cannot be beaten in a straight fight, Sean realizes he must banish her to hell with an incantation. After performing the ritual, he's surprised to see it doesn't work. Remembering the spell requires a sacrifice of flesh, he lops off his own finger and tries again. This time the incantation is successful, casting Mildred to hell. Despite Sean's victory, things are far from over. As he attempts to leave, Sean sees Mildred's ghouls following him, implying he's replaced her as the ruler of the house. This is a bittersweet ending, since Sean was 10 times more adaptable than most horror heroes, and yet he still got screwed. Number 1. David cracked the entire case single-handedly in Searching. In Searching, a teen called Margot goes missing, compelling her father David to look for clues on her computer. After Detective Vic takes on the case, she informs David that Margot probably ran away. After further investigation, David learns his daughter befriended a teen online calling herself Fish and Chips. Vix confirms Fish and Chips has an alibi and so dismisses her as a suspect. When David finds Margot's keychain at Barbosa Lake, Vix starts a manhunt for her, with the lake serving as ground zero. Later, Vix informs David an ex-con called Randy confessed to murdering Margot before killing himself. Ready to say goodbye to his daughter, David uploads photos of her to a funeral site. But after noticing the site has the same stock photo as Fish and Chips, David realizes Vix lied about the teen having an alibi. After piecing everything together, David discovers Vic's son, Robert, better known as Fish and Chips, left Margot for dead after they got into a fight. To protect Robert, Vix took the case, hoping to steer David from the truth. Thanks to David's actions, Vix and her son are arrested for their crimes. But David's not finished. Because Vix oversaw the manhunt, David rationalizes Margot could be in the area in Barbosa Lake that Vix claimed had already been searched, to cover her tracks. Sure enough, Margot is found in the searched region. Although she's badly injured, Margot makes a full recovery. Simply put, David is a frickin' genius. Even though some of his theories didn't pan out, he never gave up. No matter how many times he was misled, he found answers by listening to his gut and his heart. Rather than letting the experts take control, he and he alone solved everything by himself. And that concludes our list. If you think we missed any, then do let us know in the comments down below, and while you're there, don't forget to like and subscribe and tap that notification bell. Also, head over to Twitter and follow us there, and I can be found across various social medias just by searching Ellie Littlechild. I've been Ellie with What Culture. I hope you have a magical day, and I'll see you real soon.